Hello everyone, I am Father Jonathan Emery, and this is Socially Sourced, a video series on the social teaching of the Catholic Church. This is episode 8, Human Work. In Genesis, Adam and Eve were entrusted with the task of subduing the earth and exercising dominion over every living creature. At face value, this seems a bit harsh, but actually it tells us three very important factors about work. First, it reminds humanity that we are the only rational creatures on this planet. Yes, I know we don't always act like it, but we are the only creatures able to think out our actions and therefore able to make moral decisions about the proper use of resources. Second, it reminds us that God is the creator and owner of all of creation, and He has given creation to humanity through Adam and Eve for our use and to be cared for by us. Therefore, we do not truly own any of creation, but are simply its steward, which is a combination of an administrator and caretaker. Everything must be returned at the end of our life. Third, this statement was given to Adam and Eve before the fall of sin, meaning that work is not a punishment, but rather is an integral part of humanity. It is only because of the fall of sin that work becomes toil and drudgery. Work has a place of honor because it is handed on to us by God as part of our humanity, but it also serves as the method for each individual to gain the necessities of life, the building blocks of holistic growth of that individual, and the way in which that individual participates in their part of building both society and the kingdom of heaven. Because of this, work is necessary and a fundamental right. It is needed to form and maintain a family, to have a right to property, and to contribute to the common good of the human family. However, we must also resist the strong temptation to make an idol of work. For the ultimate and definitive meaning of life is not to be found in work, but rather in God. There are two things we can do to help defend ourselves from becoming a slave to work. The first is remembering that work is for humanity, not for amassing treasure, that each works for what they need, and then works to help other humans get what they need. The second is through the gift of God that we call the Sabbath. Every 7 days we are given a day to rest and pray on the Lord's Day. But modern society has encroached upon this Sunday rest bit by bit. It is a necessity and a right that humans be given a day to rest and pray to promote their integral growth as a human. This requires us to refuse to do housework, homework, business, or to go out on Sundays, as well as petitioning businesses or the local governments to require that businesses close on Sunday. Only absolutely essential workers, first responders, medical workers, prison guards, priests, and anyone who has the direct care of others should be allowed to have workers in on the Sabbath. Not recognizing this is an injustice against workers, and usually the poorest of the workers, as most businesses that are needlessly open on the Sabbath also pay the lowest wages. Throughout history, there has been a war between labor, the ones doing the work, and capital, the ones who own the resources for doing the work. Like all wars between humans, this is a lie of the devil, to see an enemy where a partner should exist. As Leo XIII put it, capital cannot stand without labor, nor labor stand without capital. However, in disputes between the two, labor should have priority over capital, as labor deals with human work, meaning it is more central to the human person than the materials that capital owns. And labor usually has less resources or legal and political clout at its disposal than capital does. Ideally, a business would find ways for workers to participate in ownership, management, and profits of the company. This is most frequently done through stock offerings to their employees and allowing them to receive a portion of the company's profits in the form of dividends and to vote in stockholders' meetings on the direction of the company. From my limited understanding of the public's corporate structure, they seem to be a good example of this type of company. Any government or architect of an economic system should consider full employment to be a primary objective, as all who can work should have access to it. The main task of government is to focus on this along with protecting the rights of labor and capital, while giving a preferential care for the human dignity present in labor and the poor as more important than the mere property of capital. Government should also make sure not to surpass its job, for as St. John Paul II said, the duty of the state does not consist so much in directly guaranteeing the right to work of every citizen, making the whole of economic life very rigid and restricting individual free initiative, as much as in the duty to sustain business activities by creating conditions which will ensure job opportunities, by stimulating those activities where they are lacking, or by supporting them in moments of crisis. The Church's social teaching spends a long time on the specifics of human labor and goes into far more depth on the rights of women, children, families, and immigrants as workers, as well as delving into issues such as the importance of proper unions and globalization. However, it would take far too long to go into all of those specifics here. Join us next week for Episode 9, Economic Life. God bless.